Hello, friends and folks, and welcome back to the Unity stream. And this is day 2 of our Creator Spotlight series for a very, very special week of Devolver games. And we have some really special guests today. For those who don't know, we're doing an entire summer filled with games, all made with Unity games that we think would be really, really valuable for you. We're going to go behind the scenes. We're going to show some exclusive content, tips and tricks, everything. Community management. We're going to really try to teach you how to become better game developers. I'm your host, Carol, here at Unity, and this is my friendly co-host, Hassan. Say hello.
Other way.
Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Swapped out. Hassan, community manager here at Unity. So excited to be here. Yesterday we had the incredible honor to interview, and Pepper's back. It's not a Unity Twitch stream without Pepper. Yesterday we had the honor to interview the incredible team behind Card Shark, the 2D card-based adventure game. And today we'll be speaking to the team behind Boomerang X. So the Boomerang X is a stylistic first-person shooter where you have to harness the power of a mystical boomerang to fling yourself through the air and to blast through arenas of swarmed with enemies. The game comes out in 2 days, July 8th. So you're getting a sneak peek right before the game comes out. And joining us from the team, we have Sam, who is the programmer and technical artist, and also Bones, who is a programmer and community manager on the game. So they're going to be running us through, as Kyle just mentioned, the art, some of the tools they've used in the game, and their community management strategies. So before we jump to the team, let's cut to the trailer of the game.
Awesome. When I say that is action-packed, I mean it's action-packed. So let's introduce the awesome team. Sam, why don't you say hi?
Hello. Hi, Carol. Hi, Hassan. I'm Sam. I'm a programmer and technical artist at Dang.
Dang.
Oh, so do you have to shout it out every time?
Yeah.
I like to say that you have to shout it out.
Should have done that.
Thanks. And how about you, Bones?
Hi, I'm Bones. I'm, also programmer here at Dang, and I do a lot of our Discord stuff.
Yeah.
So welcome in, everyone. Hi.
Hello. Okay, super nice to have you. Let's start it off. I mean, I love that trailer. I've played this game. It's really super fast-paced. It feels really great. But I really want to know before all that, how you guys got together. Tell me about your team. You're like the classic indie studio. When me and Hassan first met, you were like, oh, the most indie, the most lovely. So please tell us about you.
We met in college. We're all pretty recent college grads, so we went to RPI, which is a school that many people have not heard of, which is fine. It's in upstate New York, which is where we still live right now. We all went to a sort of game design program there, and it's been history, basically.
Yeah. I think Bones, you were telling me that actually how it really started was that you started doing game jams together, right?
Yeah, we did a lot of game jams together in school. I think everyone on the team has done game jams with different pairings of the 5 of us throughout all of our years at RPI, and and that's how we really got to know each other and start making games together, which has been really, really great. And we're still making games together today. So hey.
Nice. I tell a lot of our, like Hassan and I have other streams where we try to like give tips to beginners and people just like submitting games, and we tell them all the time to join game jams. It's like the perfect place for you to learn how to work with other people. A lot of people you meet there are probably going to be people you're going to end up working with for a really long time, actually.
I love game jams. Yeah, they're great. And this game came from a game jam, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, we did the Game Maker's Toolkit jam. I think the first one in 2018. Nice. And we kind of sat on it for a long time after that, but or 2017 was it? I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was the one with dual purpose design. It was funny. We did a tweet once, and someone replied to the tweet and like added the Game Maker's Toolkit and was like, "Hey, this game would have been like really cool for the dual purpose design like game jam like 3 years ago." You're like, "Oh yeah, that's where it came from. You got it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just hosted another Game Maker's Toolkit jam like maybe a month ago, and they have a whole YouTube up on video on YouTube showcasing like the top games. Yeah.
I love it every time. It's so cool. We couldn't do it this year.
The quality is always such a high bar.
Yeah. I'm not sure we met that bar the year. I'm not sure we met that bar with the game jam years ago.
Clearly you did.
It's just in a different place today.
We got there eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah, you can still go back and play the game jam versions on Edge, but
oh, that's awesome.
Ooh, link to it.
Send it to us and we'll drop it in the chat. That's amazing.
We always talk about people's first iteration of things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes at Unity or even just like game development in general, people only see like the really finished product, and it's really nice to see like people's origins. It's like, oh, it just like inspires people. It's like, okay, I can do this. It's just about like being persistent and iterating and things like that.
Yeah, like Carl was saying, we're always pushing our community to jump into game jams because you learn so much. You don't just get to like let out all these ideas that you've been like building up inside, but you also get to like you learn how to scope, right? You learn how to manage your time appropriately. Usually you only have a 2 to 3 day limitation, and so you have to work well within that. Your team building skills, all kinds of things, and so it's just so worth it. It's amazing to see this result.
You learn how to finish stuff too, I think is maybe the most important part. Yeah. It's so hard to, I don't know. I like for a long time before I started doing game jams, I would just like make tiny little prototypes and like, oh, that's cool. And then I get tired of it. But it's so, finishing something is so hard. It's like a real skill. So it's a good thing to learn.
When you're not going to work on, like you're not going to continue working on the thing after the game jam, you're like, I might as well wrap it up. And you find a way to...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I could make a main menu.
Oh yeah, that's always the end to every game. You're like, okay, well now I have to make the main menu.
Exactly. I have to string this thing together now. Yeah.
All right, so nice. So I think that's actually a good segue into the fact that you started this game off. It was like something that you did together, and now I think it's pretty much finished, right? In the next couple of days.
God, it better be, yeah.
As far as we know.
Yeah. So how about we go take a look? Bones, maybe you can like give us a little tour of the game.
Yeah.
All right. I'm clicking the play button in Unity now.
Getting a little exclusive peek at the intro of the game. Unedited.
All right, so I don't think there will be sound here, but that's fine.
So chat is already making comparisons to Samurai Jack. They're loving the look and intensity of the game.
Samurai Jack was a huge inspiration that we've drawn a lot from. Yeah. I think I don't think we've shown this yet. So this is all like. This is what happens before where the demo took place, because we didn't have any of that in the demo. So the demo would just be kind of all action. But yeah, this is the intro sequence, which is hinted a little bit in some of the trailers. But yeah, we're gonna start out on the tutorial and kind of wander through the tutorial and talk about it a little bit.
So I actually talk a lot to people about tutorials and like what tutorial levels are, and for really especially very complex games with very complex mechanics, it's really required. But how do you integrate that in a way that doesn't take away so much from the actual gameplay or the plot or the story without exposition? And I think your game actually did it really well. I immediately was pulled in when I played this.
Yeah, so
thanks.
First thing is we want to make sure people know how to walk. Yeah, so
You give them somewhere to walk to.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And you walk through this little dilapidated abandoned village.
Beautiful.
And y'all can't hear it, but I have a beautiful symphony of bird noises going on right now. It's truly picturesque.
Yeah.
Carol, could you simulate that for us?
Pew, 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 pew. I forgot what bird sounds
okay.
like all of a sudden.
That's pretty good.
On the spot, under pressure.
All right, so now we have the boomerang. We picked it up off this anvil. And yeah, so then we have these plaques that tutorialize how to use everything in the game. So we tell you that you throw it by just holding left mouse. I mean, if you're on a controller, it'll be whatever the controller input is. But yeah, so we tell you how to throw it, and you have to pop this little red gem, which is like a motif that you kind of need to get a lot of other stuff done in the game.
Yeah.
Now we show the second part of it, which is that you need to throw it further, you have to hold it down. So we have these two animations where the boomerang goes further than the other one, which usually is pretty clear, but you can't get across this without charging it hard enough.
Nice.
And so yeah, then you pop it and the door opens.
Love the way the
And-
bridge just slams right in.
Yeah, the bridge just slams.
Yeah.
That
We
was
used
so
to have
fun.
a problem where it could slam into the player,
course.
and
Yeah.
that would be pretty bad.
Things you never expect until you play test, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem actually was that it would slam into the player and not kill them. So the way that we solved it is that now if that happens, it kills you.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's so
so
true.
good.
The number of games that I've played even recently, like very polished, like AAA games, where it didn't kill me for doing something, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm stuck here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please kill me.
Yeah, and so now we introduce, I guess these are mechanics. You start all of our little combat encounters by popping these floating gems, which is, you have to do it to progress again. Oh, these are invisible.
Oh, huh.
That's
Right.
awesome.
No, we know about this bug. This isn't in the game.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I open up the game on
Do
Steam?
you want to?
No, I think
it's fine. I think it's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
There aren't that many grub. Uh-oh. Sneak peek, everybody. Exclusive content of a bug
Yeah.
that isn't in the game anymore.
sometimes the
it.
mobs are invisible.
Yeah.
Should I have like pulled to the most recent version or something?
It doesn't matter, whatever.
It's a difficulty mode.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a difficult mode. All the enemies are
Difficulty mode.
invisible.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Right. Well, we'll only go so far then.
Well, we're gonna be showing the enemies in the like more footage that we're gonna be showing, and
Right.
as we dive into
Oh
editor.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's deliberate. We're still withholding seeing
Exactly.
the
We're
enemies
just
until later.
showing the mechanics for now.
Perfect.
Did it on
That's right.
purpose. Yeah.
Okay. So this is another really important mechanic, which is recalling the boomerang. So if you throw it normally, it'll like bounce around and like kind of take its time to get back to you. And so what you can do is you can pull it back so you can use it immediately, which is really important.
Nice.
And so to get through this door, you have to pull it back so you can pop it. And it's timed, so those like will recharge. Yeah, so those like weak points will recharge and make you like pop it within a certain amount of time to force you to use the recall mechanic, because if you don't know how to do it, the game is going to be very hard.
Right.
Especially when you have to like mow down a lot of enemies at once, you need to pull it back. And so that's what we're showing here on this flag, is that you got to pull it back to like hit other enemies, which we'll see how that goes when I can't see them, but I think that'll be.
You should be able to see the spiders. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
God, I hope you can. Okay. Well, right. So our team is Bones and myself, and Janice is our concept artist. Does a bunch of 3D and 2D art. And
Okay.
is it bad in engine, Bones, or is it just the stream?
It's just a stream. In engine, we have over 200 FPS.
Oh.
A small little flex. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam. Continue that.
Oh wait, well, yeah. So Janice does a bunch of concept art, 3D art, and 2D stuff. Ben is does the music, lots of other 3D art and animation, and Perrin is our writer, also does 3D art. We have, we all wear a lot of hats. There's a lot going on. But yeah, that's the team. It's just 5 of us.
Yeah.
I played through this. I had the great chance to play through the entire game, and going through the whole thing and seeing and knowing that it was just 5 people. I'm just shocked. There's so much work, care, and attention to detail put into this game. It's just incredible. And we're gonna look at some of that now. Shall we jump right into the editor to look at some of the art style, or actually first let's show this cool this mechanic before doing that. This is one of my favorite mechanics actually in the game.
So for those of you who were paying attention, not to shame those who weren't, it's fine.
I wasn't.
So the
paying
boomerang
attention.
before was this dull gray, and now that we've gotten this power up, which is what happened when I played the sequence here in the tuning court, is now my boomerang's yellow, which means that I can teleport with it or slingshot. Ooh. Oh, right.
I think that's what's really amazing about this game is that it's pretty straight. You had a mechanic, like you said. It's like you had a concept, you had a hook for this game, and then I was so excited to figure out all the ways that you would evolve on that hook, and it's so quick to satisfy you with those things. So you see the color changes, you see these things, you have new tools, you have new action items. It's really fun to go through this game, and it's so fast. This is within the first 5 minutes of the game, right?
It's so true. You're constantly being given new tools, so it keeps the pace going, right? You never feel like it's slowing down. I love that.
It's pretty fast. A lot of the reason that it's so fast is that, frankly, we didn't have time to make an enormous number of environments, so we wanted to get all this cool stuff in the game and try to, pace it out as much as we could and let you learn how to do it. But basically, the moment we're pretty sure you get it, we're gonna introduce something else because we just don't have time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're stacking all your knowledge and you're applying everything in the moment, right? In the middle of an encounter, and it's just great.
Yeah.
Oh, and one super unique thing about this game is space bar when you're already in the air.
Yeah, you have what we call the air brake, which is going to be important so I don't slam into this wall of spikes. Basically, if you use it, it cuts your momentum in the middle of the air, which is going to give you a lot more kind of control over where you're going, how fast you're going. Because we have, the boomerang slingshotting lets you go really, really fast. And so being able to air brake can give you a lot more control, so you feel like you have some agency and whatnot. This tutorial went through a lot of iterations. I think for the longest time, it was just a ledge that you had to land on, which we both wanted to be big enough so that it was generous, but also small enough so you had to use the air brake to actually land on it. And we had a lot of frustration with people trying to do it. And the problem was we could not force people to use the air brake. And so we put a giant spike wall, so now you have to use the air brake or you'll get smacked.
These tutorials went through a lot of iterations, all of them basically.
Yeah.
They used to be totally different, and the plaques too have changed so many times. It's just we just tried it, got people to play it, test it over and over again, and just change it over and over. For a long time, I felt like we would never figure out exactly how to work.
Oh, but I think the way it turned out, super simple, just what you want, and very direct and clear, right? And there's no way to miss the lesson, I think.
Yeah.
That's good.
Otherwise, you're gonna slam into a wall of spikes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, somebody in chat, Elio Hoho, says they explain the concepts really well without relying on text. That's clever. Show, don't tell.
Oh, Elio Hoho is the
thank you.
artist behind another made with Unity game called Mini Maker.
Cool.
That's coming soon, so check that out.
Nice. Welcome to the
Incredible
chat.
artist and friend of mine.
Sweet.
Welcome,
Great.
Elliot.
Yeah. So and then I guess we can go, and then we introduce another mechanic, which is the way that you get your health back because you have to stand on this platform for a certain amount of time, and it will like refill your health bar, which I hope was clear and visible. And then we explain it. Yeah, we like ideally, right? A perfect game user experience is there's no text anywhere, but that's just not always really possible, especially when you have a lot of kind of stuff going on, and so we have to use text.
Well, the thing, honestly, one of the things I learned about figuring out how these tutorial plaques should look is text will kind of force people to realize that there's something to learn. Like, if you just have a plaque with an animation on it, they might just be like, oh, that's cool, and walk by and not really pay attention to it. But if there's text, it's like, oh, I'm in a tutorial. There's something I should be paying attention to here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, but I like that it's kept minimal, right? There's not a lot of reading to do, but you are aware that that's what you have to do, and the diagrams go so far.
Those platforms too I think are pretty cool mechanic, because the way it works is you're taking damage over time, and then to get it back you have to stand on that platform for a certain amount of time, which is risky because the game, as you'll see probably in a moment, is very fast paced. There's a lot going on, so you have to be pretty careful that you're going to be safe while you're there.
The amount of times I was playing and I was surrounded by a horde of enemies and I had one health left and I had to jump onto the thing. I was like, I'm desperate. I jump on and you have to wait there for a bit and then I just get hit and die while trying to get healed. No, but that's the fun of it, right? It's it's your fault. You have to clear the area and then jump in there. And I loved it because I personally haven't seen a healing mechanic like that. There are so many mechanics in this game that are just so I don't want to say like reinventing the wheel, but it kind of does, where it's like a new health system, a new healing system, a new like jumping / double jump, which is stopping the momentum system. Like these things I've never seen before in a game, and I just think you've made something extremely unique. That's worth nice seeing. Yeah, especially if you're into game design, this is a must play.
Yeah. So this is where the demo is.
Demo starts
so this
right
is
here.
right where the demo stops, right at the bottom of this staircase. So yeah, I think this is about. I think that's what we wanted to show. We start talking about what makes this game look so pretty. I think.
Oh sure.
Wow.
You want to talk about shaders?
Yeah, let's talk about shaders.
All right. So should we jump into the editor?
Yeah, I've got to pull it up.
All right. So we're gonna get a behind the scenes look now into this beautiful game. We're gonna be looking at how they achieved. Their special effects, the overall. Well, I guess let's start by the most prominent thing. When I first looked at the game, I noticed the environment, the walls, the texture on the walls. There's this kind of like splatter painterly effect that's applied to everything. And I'd love for you to show the chat and everybody watching how you actually achieve that.
Yeah. So it's all one messy monolith shader. So okay, basically what's going on is I don't want to get too technical, but we have a light map that which I think we're going to talk about how our light mapper works a little bit later actually, but we're baking ambient occlusion all over the place, and then we're sampling the ambient occlusion to figure out where all the kind of crevices are, and that's where we put the darkest parts of the splatter. And these are not UV maps in the traditional way. They're triplanar maps. So basically, what that means is that if I move this around, you'll see the texture kind of stays in the same place, which is cool because it means that you can have different chunks of rocks. Like these two rocks are different models, but they kind of blend into each other because they're using like world space coordinates for the textures, which I think is pretty neat.
It just makes it so much easier to build the scene out, right? You don't have to you can change things on the fly, right?
Yeah, you can just move stuff around. We made it very hard on ourselves later, but basically you can just build stuff out. It's just a big dump of rocks, basically, right? And it all kind of works. Like it looks fairly seamless. I can go in and show some details here. Basically, we have so many just different properties for these shaders. You can obviously change the colors of things. Let's see. there. I don't even know what to show off. There's so much going on. So, for example, we have this detail cutoff that changes sort of what the threshold of the grain is. We have like how kind of I have these sort of notes in here that are sort of unhelpful. But it's all
For your eyes only.
yeah. Well, yeah. I tried, but pretty much. I think the main thing that's going on here is that we have a bunch of different colors that are thresholded against each other. So it's almost like if you know what a signed distance field is, it's almost like that, where you are the actual texture is just this splatter thing that gets thresholded at a bunch of different points based on the lighting and based on other sort of little factors. So you end up with this cell shaded thing that's super crisp, and it has basically infinite resolution. Like you can't you can never see the pixels, which is pretty cool.
I'm showing off a different area what this looks like somewhere else.
Oh yeah, you want to hop over to that?
Oh yeah, let's go over to Bones.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is a scene that we haven't showed off yet either. But yeah, so basically you have this splattering here on the ground, like inside this little pool, and also on the tiles and on the actual statue here, and on all these pots, and on this wall, which I really like the way that these colors look on this wall. I think it's really pretty. This is my favorite area in the game. But yeah, so we have all these, and so all these surfaces have the same texture but with different values. So it still has all this speckling, which is really pretty, but they still look different. Which is really cool.
So does this effect allow you to put less time into applying textures to every material? Do you feel like it saves a lot in that sense?
I think it does. Yeah, it saves a lot of time. I mean, it basically means that we don't have to worry about. The only other way to get this effect really, I guess, would be to have UV mask for everything and have textures that are hand painted where all the splatters go, which would be, oh my god, so much work. I can't even imagine. We really wanted this kind of messy effect like this, and I think it's the only way we can think of to do it.
So am I right in saying, so this wall that Bones is looking at right now, so maybe those bricks, that's a texture you've placed, and then on top of that you slap on the shader, correct?
No, these bricks are
I think the bricks are geometry.
They're actually geometry. Okay, so there's not even a texture, and it's just the shader applied, and then it just blends in.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Have very few textures in the game, which was a problem that all of our detail came from geometry when we had to port the Switch, because we had to decimate a lot of the geometry because there were just too many vertices.
Lots of polygons.
I see.
Yeah. I watched a talk. I don't know if I'll be able to find this, but a long time ago from us two who made Monument Valley about their kind of shader, which I love. It's so cool. The original Monument Valley in particular has this these just sweet gradients on all the sides of blocks. And the thing that they talked about a lot was that they really wanted to have perfect control of color, at any given time. They want to be able to just choose exactly the color that they want, as if it's Photoshop. We don't the materials in here are not, there's no physically based stuff going on. It's all just very carefully handpicked colors to make sure that we can get exactly the palette that we want, exactly the feeling of the area. But
I think that really pays off, because that's definitely the first thing I noticed when you jump into the game. There's just it's not immediately obvious, but you just got a sense of ooh, something feels really well curated, just well chosen, designed colors, and I feel like that makes such a difference. Like it's definitely one of those invisible things that an average player is not going to notice, but that it just gives you a intense level of satisfaction playing the game.
Well, it means also that we can do stuff that's like kind of not realistic. Like some of these areas wouldn't. I don't know how they could possibly look like this. It's so stylized, but we can just make things whatever color we want. So
we're gonna paste that talk you're just talking about, the money.
I'll see if I can find it. It might be hard.
I found it. We're gonna be pasting. I've seen it before, so we're gonna paste it in the chat.
Oh, cool.
It's a great talk. Definitely check that out. Yeah.
Nice.
So, do you want to drop it like a sphere or a cube into the scene and just show us how the shader is immediately applied to it? I feel like that's a great way to demonstrate.
Yeah, you want to do that, Sam?
Sure. So it might look a little odd because it's not going to have a light map baked onto it, but
okay.
But no, yeah, I'll show it off. You'll be able to tell what's going on.
Cool. Take a look at Sam's screen.
Yeah, that's
Right, here we go. Big sphere. Okay. I'll just grab. We have so many materials. My God, it's out of control. Okay. Right. So you can see basically the you kind of have to look beyond the texture. This sort of mess of texture that's here is from the light map that doesn't exist. But if you kind of look under it at the speckles,
right,
you can see that
kind
of they move with the object, basically.
And so then when you put it against the wall and you bake it, then it achieves that kind of it blends it.
Yeah, exactly. I can even, if I duplicate it and I do like that, you can see, even though this is two spheres, that there's sort of a seamless blend of texture between the two of them.
That's neat. That's so smooth.
Kind of neat. Yeah. So there you go.
Great. I know another shader that you worked on that you put a lot of time into is the water shader. That's something you want to show?
Yeah.
There's an inside team joke about the water shader.
Oh, I don't know. There's so many water shaders. It's just, people make fun of me for making 1,000 water shaders.
Yeah. Okay. The water shader guy.
Yeah. I really am. Okay. Let's go to.
I'm in the fortress, so you should go to like aqueducts.
Okay. I'll go. Don't save.
You want to put a big circle in the middle of the level?
I don't know. There's still a couple days. Okay, so this will be easy to tell if we're actually playing the game. So I'll hop in.
Chat is spamming Boomerang X, take my energy, which I'm assuming is an inside joke that I don't totally understand.
I don't understand it either.
I don't think that's an inside joke.
Okay.
Thanks, chat.
All right. So there's a little.
I think it's like a Spirit Bomb Dragon Ball Z reference.
Okay. Here, you know what I can do? You won't be able to see Visual Studio, but I'll just pop it open so I can see and show you some of the different parts of this. Okay. Oh, what's this load up? I'm holding on. Sorry. Okay, well, so in the meantime, you can kind of tell that the main effect that you're looking at right now is like this sort of ripple. And what's happening there is it's a camera, an orthographic camera, looking at just a specific layer that draws this trail. I will pause very quickly, scroll over to this, and just let's see, what does this go? I should be sharing my real screen maybe for this. Let's see. Okay. So, right, here we go. You can see that it's basically drawing a trail behind me that decays over time on a couple of different channels. So there's a channel for it uses the green channel and the blue channel. The only difference is that the blue channel decays faster and it's a little bit bigger. So what this means is I can use this information to basically subtract the green from the blue. I don't know if that makes any sense. But what it does is it lets me figure out which direction you're moving,
Oh.
and kind of give you a little trail behind you. Can't really undo that.
Oh, very cool.
There's so much going on with this shader. I can talk about it all day.
Yeah.
We have also this like ripple that is next to objects, which is a similar thing. It's just a texture that gets snapshotted when the level loads and at a certain height level, and then it uses that as a kind of a mask for where objects are that ripples should come from.
And so if you drop objects into the water as you're building the scene, the shader will respond immediately.
It'll respond once the game like starts, but
Once it starts, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
but
There's
you
no
don't have to
baking
worry
or
about
anything that needs to be done. It just kind of recognizes a mesh is in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. Let me show one more quick thing. I can find the actual water in the scene, the plane itself. So, okay, it's just one big quad. We aren't using it in this level, but there's this. Here we go. We can basically use that same texture that tells us how far away we are from objects, basically, right? And use it to put algae on the water too. So let's
Algae shaders.
algae
Algae shader. The other water shader.
Big blur. There we go. So you can see. I mean, I didn't color it obviously, but you kind of can get these spots of algae that.
All that white?
All the white is algae, and it'll react to your boomerang, and if you walk through it, basically, yeah, and you can kind of, well, obviously this wouldn't just be white, but
Yeah.
it reacts, it kind of like conforms to the environment a little bit, like it's kind of sticking to this thing.
So this is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I said like this game is made by 5 people. The amount of attention and love that's put into this game, it shows in these details. You've clearly put so much time into this one water shader, and it has so many layers and facets to it. It's like one thing, but it's really many things.
It's so complicated, and many shaders are like that. I think this one and the kind of main static shader are really, they're just so complicated.
Right.
It's
So
fun to show
were they
off.
being built throughout the development of the game, or were they built early on and then remained the same throughout, or were they consistently evolving?
They were evolving a little bit. The kind of main static, this like geometry shader, had to change a couple times because we had to change how we were doing lighting based on were we gonna have any kind of real-time lights? Ultimately, we decided no. We wanted to make sure that it could run as fast as possible, so it's all baked, it's all one pass. So that changed a couple times, and then the water, like, oh wait, I kind of added the algae late because we have a level that's supposed to be kind of nasty, it's a nasty water level. So I wanted to put some goop on the water. So all these shaders are kind of evolving all the time. They're just like, I'll come up with some idea, and then if I can find time, I'll just put it in.
Right, depending on the context.
You have to make sure to have a nasty water level. Very important.
Right.
It really is. This is the
Game
clean
rules.
water level, by the way. Even though there are like egg sacs all over the place.
Another
Otherwise, is it even a game?
Yeah, right, exactly.
required water component is lava. So we have a lava level. If you want
Of course, you have a lava level. You have an ice level.
Oh
Yeah, I have
yeah,
a
can we
nice
switch
level.
over to Bones' screen real quick?
Yeah.
See the lava version of the water shader, I'm guessing?
Oh,
It
yeah.
is, yeah. It's the same shader.
It's very
Same?
similar, yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's like, what doesn't matter. That's pretty.
Like a variation, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly on the idea you're talking about of like the shader would evolve as you progress through development of the game and realize what you needed it for, how you wanted to change it.
Yeah.
But you have the base ready. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Do we want to switch over to
Yeah.
to
Can
my
we
screen?
switch over to Bones' screen right now? Yeah, perfect.
Sneak preview of this level, by the way.
Oh yeah. I think we're gonna play some of it later, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is what
Let me get a
I
look.
think on the docket. But yeah, so this is like, this is it's the same waterfall shader pretty much, but you know it's lava now.
Oh yeah, they're
Yes.
the whole waterfall
Yeah.
things.
Another thing that I don't think I brought up is that our sound is pretty detailed, like where sound effects are coming from. And so for all these waterfalls, they have a sound on them, but it's placed at your Y, and you can see this like green little gizmo that follows me up is where the lava sound is placed. So if I go lower, it will go and rise and fall with me. And that's the way that a lot of our sounds in our game are just doing quick like distance checks and like height checks to figure out like where should it be along this length that you should be hearing it from. So we do a lot of like projecting onto a line and stuff. So yeah, we have a lot of cute stuff like that going on, which is all a lot of it is at runtime actually to like make sure that this sound effect is placed in the right spot. Yeah,
Yeah, we're using Ys for this game, by the way. So,
right.
Which is super great. It makes it so easy to make. Like, well, I shouldn't maybe speak for you, Bones, because you did most of the implementation here, but it makes it pretty easy to do dynamic soundtrack stuff and all kinds of cool just audio engineering.
Great.
I wish y'all could hear the sound right now.
Yeah, the bubbling is really cool.
Yeah, this music has this level has great music.
Just gonna have to get the game. Play it.
Just gonna have to get the game
Just
started.
have to get it. Wish
Yeah.
this on Steam
Sorry.
right now. Comes out in 2
Yeah.
days.
Sorry, I guess everybody's gonna have to buy the game. Oops.
Okay, so I would love to see maybe we can jump into the shield shader. So a lot of
Oh right, sure.
enemies in this game will have shields that build around them, right? And you have a pretty cool effect that you've built to implement those shields.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as soon as
Pull that
you're
up now.
ready, we'll swap to your screens.
Okay, sure, you can swap
great.
over.
Awesome.
So these enemies, we'll talk a little bit about this, how this animation works in a moment, but
Yeah.
the effect here is basically these shields sort of here, I'll turn this off. You can see that part. That's not secret, just not interesting. One thing that we do a lot, which you can't really see in editor, but is pretty cool, is that we are constantly for a lot of different shaders doing depth testing per pixel to sort of blend things together. So for example, these mothballs basically, I mean, if you've played like Overwatch, for example, you've seen this kind of thing where you have if the shield is intersecting with the environment, you get a little kind of like edge glow. We do the same kind of thing all the time. And these shields are pretty dynamic. They have to turn on and off, and they kind of like encompass enemies. So there are lots of different things, different ways to kind of play around with them. You can make them go super fast. You can change all the textures on them and all the colors. If I change some of these textures, you can kind of see the effect of it. So what you're looking at basically is,
Ooh.
Kind of trippy.
yeah, it's basically we do this a lot where it's like kind of an edge fade, and then we'll scroll a texture across something and kind of do it a couple times and then take a threshold of that. So you have two textures scrolling at like slightly offset, and then cut out, so it kind of it undulates in a way that's not super predictable. It looks pretty cool. And in fact, we do that a lot, even in the UI. There's a lot of that. Like on the menus, all the buttons are like kind of wobbly. Yeah, oh, that's probably about as much as we could show off with this. There's not a lot of other interesting stuff going on, but yeah, that's kind of a...
That's great. And is there a way that, like, is it part of the shader when you remove the shield, does it dissolve away or something? Is that something we can...
Yes. This one, there are some more complicated ones that are spoilers.
Okay.
But this one kind of we basically changed the color values of runtime, so sort of like it kind of evaporates.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I see. Yeah. I see it kind of getting a bit more transparent.
Yeah, it's tricky to do it by hand. But
Right. Yeah.
that's what computers are for.
One of the things that I think really fascinated me when you were showing me this earlier was the fact that a lot of the enemies that you see, you'd immediately assume that the enemies in this game are animated, the spiders, the butterflies, and everything. But apparently not. Can you tell us about that? Tell us about how you make these things look alive.
So here's a good example. This is an animation that Ben made in Maya, exported to Unity. But then what we did is, rather than just playing it like a regular animation, we record the vertices and play them back as a shader, as a vertex shader that edits it. So you can kind of see like there's some like wobbly here, which is just from like, floating point imprecision, basically. Like it can't get to exactly the right place, which I think just looks cool, honestly.
Yeah, it's a cool effect. It's a feature.
It's a feature.
Yeah.
So almost all the enemies are like this, and the reason we do it is so that we can basically batch them all together. Like if they were all animated for real, you'd have a lot of bones and a lot of stuff going on that's sort of slow to render. But if they're like this, then you can just throw them all at the GPU all at once, basically, and they'll render super fast. Oops. Oh, there. I can show a couple more, so let's see.
Yeah, we love talking about bones here.
Oops, did I open it? No, I tried to rename it. Here we go. So yeah. So this is the only reason we can get away with this basically is that these animations are moving. Like if we needed more complicated animations, and on some enemies we do, and those are really, bone animated. But this is just all the spider does is walk forward, so we can get away with just doing this.
And so, curious why that decision was made. Why not play the animations? Why do you choose to put those points into a vertex animation and play that? What is the...
It's basically just for performance. It's
okay. Great. Yeah.
It's just a lot faster to render it, which is nice because there are some times when we have like, oh my god, dozens of enemies on screen at once.
So are you moving the work from the CPU to the GPU in this case? Is that what's happening?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a great way to optimize your game, especially if you want to port to like different consoles, right? And move
right. Yeah, we did this. We switched to doing this method while we were porting the Switch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's good to cut costs wherever you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think you do that in so many places. You do that in animations. You do it in the textures. It's really well done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess one of the last shaders in this segment that I want to look at is the health shader for the health platform.
Oh right. Okay. Let's take a peek. So I'll just go to a level. Out. What's a good one? Let's go to fun. Okay. It's the farm. Sneak peek at the giant skybox. Okay. So there we go. Oops, I made myself too fast. Right. So these platforms are pretty cool because they I'll just do a demonstration.
Yeah.
Basically, Bones was looking at this earlier, but if you take damage, you stand on it, and it'll heal you. There's a whole kind of effect that plays while that's happening.
Yeah.
So let me press H, which is our secret button to hurt yourself in the editor. And then if I stand on this, it'll start turning white, and you can see that this kind of pulsing UI thing pops up. And so if I stay on it for a moment, it'll fill all the way up, and then the fire is gone. So what's happening here is, I'll show you, there are two in this level. So basically, you can kind of see the actual vertices of the fire. It's this giant, wild, like, oscillating cylinder, sort of, right? So it's kind of static at the bottom, and then the top of it is like moving all over the place. I don't know how well that's going to show up on stream, but and then we have a texture, much like the shield, where you have different textures scrolling across each other, which and then that gets thresholded, which means that you kind of have this kind of undulating flame thing going on. And then
We have a question from chat about the Vertex Animations.
yeah.
Flippo13 says, does that not make it more complicated to change the animations?
It does. It makes it pretty hard, but we did it.
Great question.
We did it late enough that we didn't have to worry about it anymore. Basically, all the animations were finalized.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were working with the animations in Maya so that you can change back and forth, but when you were done, you did that final step to optimize.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what we
And I
Yeah.
built a whole little tool. Well, it's not. I mean, whatever. It's a mess, but a little thing to record the animation so that. And,
Okay.
and what it is really is, well, not to move away from the shield stuff, but it just bakes it all to a texture, and the texture is just the colors of the coordinates of every vertex, and it just goes over it over time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense. But
Oh yeah.
there you go.
Great. So I'm sure everybody who's watching wants to see and learn more about the boomerang itself.
Sure.
Yeah. So I would love for you to talk about the actual boomerang mechanic and maybe walk us through frame by frame what that effect looks like and just how the physics of the boomerang works.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was
totally.
maybe your focus during the game jam when you first made the game, and I'm sure it's something that's evolved over time. And,
Yeah, you can go try
This
it. It used to be really different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the boomerang mechanics are basically the first thing that we worked on when we started on the game again. And the first thing was being able to charge the boomerang to throw it further. Really, I remember playing like those early days. We were playing in the same like level that the game jam takes place in, but we had like kind of almost our modern boomerang mechanics of like being able to charge and throw and stuff. And yeah, I mean, getting the boomerang to feel good and fun to use was like, that was priority one when we actually started making this from the game jam.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've gotten to a good place if you ask me, but
I think it's pretty
yeah,
cool. Well, just so as an overview, the way this works is you throw the boomerang, it'll come back to you. It kind of gets pulled towards you with a force. I can show in more detail in a second, but and then you can just recall it immediately, and then it'll just zoom it back to your hand. And then there's the whole thing where if it's in the air, you can zoom yourself to it. So okay, let me show let me see if I can time this right. I'll have to throw it and then instantly pause the game. Okay, here we go. Oh, by the way, your arms in this game are enormous. Okay, so you can see what's happening as the boomerang's
As long as it
going.
looks right in first person.
It looks right in first
Yeah,
person.
exactly. So it's all an illusion.
Who made this joke? I couldn't quite remember how to throw a boomerang, but eventually it came back to me.
Oh,
Who was responsible for that?
that's one of our own. We're so proud of our own. It's Trey.
It's really good.
All right. All right, Trey.
I have a little bit of a cold.
You're just wishing you put that in the game, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
it's
Oh,
too
yeah.
late.
That's bummer.
Sailed.
Well, the trail makes it fairly easy to see the motion. So, but what you can see is it goes out, and and then it eventually the force that it's pulling itself back to you increases over time, and then it slowly comes back to you. And I just threw it straight out, so it's just going to my hands.
Yeah, we have it basically just pulls itself back to the player every frame, I believe, or every physics update.
And the way it works is, there's an immediate force right away, and then it starts to pull itself back. And eventually the force that's pulling back is stronger than the initial velocity, so it starts coming back to you.
Yeah.
And if you charge it more, the initial force is a lot greater, so it'll
yeah.
bounce around a lot more.
And when you actually teleport to it, what we do is we add an impulse force to your rigid body, I guess. That, like in the direction of the boomerang. And what that means is that you don't always go right to where the boomerang is, and so we've kind of changed what it is called from teleporting to slingshotting, as we've kind of like worked that down a little bit more and more. So that it's more momentum based than
in the original game jam. You throw the boomerang and then essentially you click and then it zooms you right to where it is. Kind of no momentum. You slide over to it and then you stop and you don't continue your momentum.
Yeah.
But having that momentum, I think, was really the key. Like it's just fun to kind of maintain your speed. It means you can do these arcs and it's just great.
Yeah, but it's the thing of just like, it's kind of also part of the movement. Like to me, I spent 3/4 of the game in the air. Right,
yeah,
and it's
really
all thanks to that slingshot. Right, I'm never touching the ground. I'm just fighting from the air, and you have that option. And this mechanic allows you to do that. That plus the slow motion, the bullet time mechanic.
Yes,
both allow you to do that. Maybe that's something you can show, the bullet time with the charge.
Absolutely. I guess we haven't showed this. Also, Hassan, one of the main things we were trying to do with the level design is over time, basically, we take more and more of the ground away.
Yes.
So this is one of the earlier levels. In the next level, you still have a ground, but it's much taller, so you have to go up in the air more. And then in later levels, the ground is very dangerous, which I guess we'll show one of those later.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of the complaints we got about the demo was that they're like, you have this incredible teleport mechanic, but like you don't really have a great amount of space to use it.
Right.
But that was because we are only showing off the first 3 levels, and so we need people to be comfortable teleporting, so that then we can just drop the ground and like make you have to fly around and stuff. So we really, it is deliberate that you can't, that these levels are short and squat, or like small, so that you have time to get used to it before we make you really have to just basically fly on your own with no ground.
Right.
Which is what a lot of the later levels are like.
It's clear. It felt intentional, and not just the level design, but I feel the enemies were also designed around that, making you move in the air. Not to give too much away, but when once you play it, you'll see.
Yeah.
I think that's also really important to someone like me. Like, I notoriously just don't play platformers. Like, I'm much more of a point and click adventure gamer. I don't really like games that are that complex, but this game felt actually really intuitive. Like there are certain games where the learning curve is really hard right from the beginning. They kind of want you to suffer even in the tutorial level. And for your game, like you said, that progression of like, you learn the mechanic and then it makes sense to add the challenge. Like, so it made it really fun for someone even like me to play.
We tried so hard to make it as smooth as possible. We really, we knew that like there's a level of mastery we want you to be at on like the later levels. And that once you hit that flow state, it'll feel really, really good. And so all of our designing for the game was to try and come up with a bunch of earlier levels so that we can like kind of smooth you into it and like so it ramps up, so that like as many people can enjoy it and also like hit the flow states that we really wanted people to hit.
Yeah, I love that you call it a flow state actually, because I think you also want, like, when you as a gamer start to feel like you're stupid or you can't accomplish something, you just stop playing eventually, right?
Yeah.
There's like,
exactly.
everyone has like a massive backlog of games, we're all sure. So it's like, what's going to keep you staying in this one game?
Flow state, perfect way to put it, because usually, in a game that's frustrating and difficult, it stresses you out. Whereas when I was playing this and I entered that flow state, I would play this game to kind of like de-stress. And I found it very relaxing because you just you kind of get lost in it and you're moving and you keep getting better and better and it becomes second nature. It becomes natural.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
That's
One
great
of
to
our-
hear.
Yeah.
We
One of our
had
huge inspirations on this game was Devil Daggers, which we tried to take a lot of the like frantic play of Devil Daggers that you have, but my problem with Devil Daggers was always that the learning curve was so steep. Right, it's just it takes a long time to get really anywhere in that game, and you spend a lot of time dying, which fans of Devil Daggers love.
Right.
I do love
but it's not for everyone. And so one of our goals with Boomerang X was to still get you to that point of like you're in your flow state, you know what you're doing, and you know everything, and then but you're still that smooth learning curve, so you can actually get there and still be enjoying yourself as you go.
This was a big conversation over the course of development. Originally, the game was way harder. The very first version of the game, the first vision of it was like, you have to play through the entire thing in one go, basically.
Oh.
And there's no health. You don't have any shields. It's just like if you take one hit, you're done.
Oh, wow.
You're out. And over time, I think we decided that that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, all of that was bad, is basically what we decided. I'm going to have to thank several of my friends for playing through it and suffering and being willing to tell me, hey, this sucks. Y'all should do something else here.
Those are good friends.
Those are good friends.
Good friends.
Those are good friends. So, yeah. We had a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had a lot of feedback early on, and they're like, I have to go all the way back to the beginning for this? Are you serious? I've already beat that. Why do I have to do that?
So there are traces of that still in the game. Like, for example, the music that plays in the orchard is going to be the first level originally. That was going to be the first level you play. And Ben was really worried that people are going to get so tired of the music because it's going to play over and over and over and over again because you have to start there every time.
Right.
So we tried to design it as carefully as possible to be like, it's not annoying, it's not intrusive, it's just like a background noise, which is great. It's still very, very good, but if you listen to it, you can kind of tell like, oh, this is designed to be kind of not like, there's no hook. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Because the hooks can get annoying if you hear them.
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
Right. There are definitely hooks in the music later in the game, which are really, really awesome. But yeah, the orchard music is kind of, it's almost like minimalist. Like there's not a lot of changing and variation. But yeah.
No hooks, only boomerangs.
Exactly.
Only Boomerang.
Swenpai in chat says, Boomerang X greater than my life.
Yeah,
Oh my
Swimpy
God.
is one of the people in our Discord.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's nice.
So I'd love to jump into looking at some of the tools that you built to make the development of this game more efficient, easier, and maybe we can quickly look at the collision visualization that you have. So we could jump to Sam's screen for this one. Pull up Sam's screen share.
Yes. Cool, okay. We call this tool the ramp creator, which is not really accurate anymore, but there you go, names just stay. So what you're looking at here is all of the collision in this scene, which is there's not that much in the scene itself. It's fairly simple. But the red means so there are a couple of layers here. Basically, the objects that are green and gray are so-called walkable, and the ones that are red are walls. Basically, we're tagging layers based on whether or not we think you could stand on them theoretically, and if they're green, this is just a shader that tests the angle of the of the surface, and the shader has the same it's set up the same way as the actual player, so it knows that exactly what angle the player can stand on. So anything that's green, the player can stand on. Anything that's gray, the player can't stand on. Anything that's red is something that the player could theoretically get stuck on, which in practice never happens. Actually, we didn't really need to do this, but what this means is basically walls don't really have friction, So if you're on the top of a wall, if that makes sense, like this object, which I don't know what this actually is. I guess it's a sack of grain. If you're on top of this collider, you won't be able to walk. But since there's no friction, you just slide off it right away. It doesn't actually matter. But I was worried about it, so that's what I did. It's kind of cool to be able to kind of zoom around and see, like, oh, this is exactly the real collision of the area.
I think that's so useful for people, just getting into making games to see. You'll see all this complex environment, all these little details, but really it comes. Yeah, thank you.
Exactly.
Really, it comes down to this, like that. Just those collisions. It's quite simple. Like it's clean. Otherwise, if it's not simple, you're going to be constantly bumping into stuff, and it's going to slow down the gameplay. And I think that goes completely against what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah,
That's sort of the reason we have this tool, in fact. The reason it's called the ramp creator is we're trying to make sure that the ground everywhere is pretty uniquely smooth. Like there's no little bumps. Like you can see even in this room over here, it's pretty craggy. I mean, you're not supposed to go over there, really. I mean, you can, but that's not the main area of the level. You can get stuck on little cracks. So, for example, this is a ramp made with this tool. So what I can do is show you. If I just move it out of the way, there's a tiny little ledge here that probably you won't get stuck on, but theoretically you could. So we put these like kind of we have a tool that lets us like place these ramps down. Kind of edit how big they are and different shapes.
And getting stuck here doesn't mean that you can't move. It means that while you're like holding the walk forward button or like W, you would you would not be smoothly walking across this barrier. You would like hit it, you would stop for a second, and then you would eventually like walk over it. Okay. And so this ramp tool is, I mean, in some places you would not be able to walk over it, but places like this where it's really small is so that you don't ever feel that in the transition between collision.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Something happened here.
It's like a mix of manual placement, but also using this tool
to show us where to do it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So and the next tool I'd love to see is is related to set dressing. So as you're putting the art for the environment, you're putting the the assets together. You have a Polyface Deletion tool, right? To lower the poly count. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, this is a tool that we did to help get our geometry down for Switch. So there are a bunch of places in levels where there's also a back face, but you can't see it obviously because it's like outside the level. And so we had this tool to go and delete those, because even with like what's it called? Back face occlusion. I'm not the expert, I guess, but even having to do the calculation to decide whether or not to draw it was expensive, especially on Switch. And so it was a lot faster to just delete it, which is what we did on. I mean, we did that on every level. That was Janice, Ben, and Parents' job for like 2 weeks, basically, was they went through the whole game and deleted all the back faces, and then we had to go back through and find little holes and where some of them got deleted accidentally, which is part of the problem with doing it as a human. Like, a human by hand, you'll make human errors.
Yeah, if we did this again, we might do it differently. I think that.
Yeah,
because it was so much work, and it was really easy to mess it up.
Yeah,
but ultimately, I don't know. It's pretty cool. You can see kind of in this area, this rock, for example, is this model, right? It's just there are a bunch of them. There's one here. There's one here. There's one here, right? But these ones don't have back faces.
Right.
So what we do basically is we take here. I can just do a little demo. We take a bunch of these. I'll do those, whatever, right? Here's our rock thing. Then we have, where is it? Loading. Okay. So, what we do is first. First, we grab, all the meshes, click a button, and it'll turn them all into one mesh, which I save somewhere. Whatever. Unity, stream, rock, test. Okay. Oh no, I can't put a
Rock,
slash
test,
in it.
Unity,
Oops.
stream, temp, one.
Yeah,
final
exactly.
draft.
Astronomical. Okay.
ASDF.
So wait, what happened? What went wrong? I don't know what went wrong. Did it work? No. Oh my god. It's been so long since I've touched this.
Batman in chat asks, like, can anyone use that mesh eraser, or is it a custom? I think it's like something that you created for yourself, right?
Yeah, we created it for ourselves. It's also so finicky that I wouldn't want to release it as an asset. It's just I wouldn't want to inflict it on anybody.
Your next game.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I
then,
mean, yeah, like we said, in the future we'll be doing this a different way because of what a pain in the ass it was to do it this way. But yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, because part of it is it takes a long time to do all the deletion, and then it takes another long time to go and plug all the holes. And we have some spots in the game where there's like a little bulge on the wall, and that's because we made a hole that we had to fill later, so you can't just see straight through to the skybox.
Oh my gosh.
Well, basically how this works is it's just you can kind of paint where you want to delete, and thankfully you can select self whatever. But once you have kind of committed, click this button. Once you save it, .fbx. Okay. Then for some reason something's broken, but whatever. Okay, it worked. And now you have the version of the mesh that just has this stuff deleted from it. But it's pretty cool. I don't know. Yeah.
So that is not like reversible.
That's
right?
the thing, right?
You would have to restart on the level basically from a previous version from version control.
Yeah. If you wanted to now switch this back to the old version of this rock, well, it wouldn't be that hard if it's just one rock, because you can just copy the transform or whatever. But if you've done the thing where it's like, oh, I've combined a bunch of these rocks together into one mesh, and then I'm deleting all the back faces on that, which is usually easier to do. So that's our workflow. Then you can't undo it, really. It's just there. And then if you want to fix it, you have to either like restart that, or you have to live with it and put something in the way of whatever you messed up.
Right, because they're already meshed together, right? And then you can't replace the prefab at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I
Great.
think that's just the reality of game dev sometimes, you gotta that's like the limitations as part of being a small team. Like, I think that's why we really wanted you to show this, even though, that's just the reality. You gotta think of like some really scrappy ways of doing things.
Exactly.
Yeah, this was
That really is what
our
it is.
trial and error.
Yeah,
And
it's
there
very
was definitely
scrappy.
error in this one.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, it still works. Like, it's there are a lot less polys in this level than there used to be, but it's just like
A lot.
I wouldn't recommend it as a method.
Well, it worked out in the end. It's
Yeah.
2 weeks of probably mesh deletion and a lot of podcasts that you were listening
I said
to.
2 weeks. It was longer.
Oh god.
I mean, we were still like closing holes like a month or two after the deletion was done. Like, it took multiple
Clicking.
people doing multiple passes on all the levels to find all the holes. I remember I had a Google Doc at one point, which was just screenshots that if you look at it from like this angle, there's a hole that you can see through like across the level, which like shows up because the skybox is blue
Right.
on those levels. But yeah,
Helps out. It also helps
Yeah.
you find them.
it does help you find them.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I'm wondering for there's another tool that I'd love for, I think maybe Bones, you're gonna show us this one, which is the way enemies are spawned into a scene when you reach an encounter.
Right. Okay. So basically, if we want to swap over to my stream,
Yeah.
Um,
swap over to Bones.
so this is what is called an arena agenda, which is basically what the arena will spawn for that encounter. So we have a wave-based game. So you fight waves and waves of enemies, and each wave is curated. So like, we want, these enemies on this wave and these enemies on this wave. We want all the waves to feel different so that it's not like just a blech or whatever, So all the waves are specifically chosen. And the way that we do that is we have these lists, and this is a custom inspector on this. So basically you can add an enemy to this list. So if we wanted to add in, let's say we wanted to add in a teleporter here, you can toggle whether it's required or not. I guess let me just turn this on. You can toggle whether it's required or not, how many you want. I'm not going to do 100, but I could. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work because it pulls from the spawn locations in the arena here, which is the other cool part about this. So part of making these levels is going in and placing all the locations that enemies can get spawned at. So you kind of have a general, like, a flying enemy location, which is what, like, this is. This little arrow here. So this arrow is pointing in the direction that the enemy spawns facing in, so you get the rotation in correctly, and you also have the place that it spawns in. And so, at this location, we can spawn in squids, frisbees, beetles. Basically, these are basically all the flying enemies in our game.
Right.
And so whether we use them in the actual wave manager or not, we usually have all of this stuff in so that when you go to change a wave, you can be like, well, actually, I would want a worm here instead, or like maybe an ultra worm if you wanted to like upgrade it to the harder version. For New Game Plus and stuff.
So it allows you to just quickly prototype and try things and try different ways.
Exactly.
I just want to mention that when looking at this tool, that for people who may not realize, when you enter an encounter, it's wave after wave, right? So you have the first wave. Once you defeat the first wave, the second wave comes in, and you and basically you can set that up for each wave, so you can also balance the difficulty, right, as you progress through. Yeah,
exactly. So that easier waves are easier, and so we can introduce maybe enemies in like certain amounts of isolation. But here, this is, I think I'll do an actual play of this later, but this is like what the first wave of this level looks like. And then I can show you how easy it is to change it. Oh, I'm in floating mode. One of the other...
Game Plus also.
I am in New Game Plus. Okay, so I'm going to go into invincibility mode for fun. I was also in anti-gravity mode, which is, the gravity turns off, which is just a kind of fun gameplay extra. Or, some people might like it for accessibility reasons. Oh, great. Okay, so this is what this level looks like, which is pretty hard. This is the New Game Plus version.
This is the game in full action right here. This is what the flow state looks like.
Yeah. Oh my god, there's so much going on in this little...
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So yeah, that's what that looks like if I do that. But what I can really easily do is I can turn off all those enemies, and I can put in a giraffe here, which I just think will be fun.
Wait, will this work? Are you on the New Game Plus version of this?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, no, I'm not. Great catch, my friend.
We have different agendas for New Game Plus and for the regular mode, basically. Okay. So we can plan out the encounters for each of them differently.
Nice.
All right, so yeah, I just basically unchecked all these enemies, which was really important once we had kind of figured out what the waves that we wanted for each level to be, to just be able to like turn them off. Like, I don't want to change this or change what the values are. Just turn it off so that I can turn it back on when I'm done like testing something. All right, so this is what it will look like. So I just changed it. Let's pop that, which is a tool. yeah, so this is the giraffe enemy. So I just changed it to have this one giraffe enemy in it now. So yeah, so I've just changed this wave really quickly with basically the touch of a button.
It's the fact that it's so easy to change these waves is like maybe one of the only. I don't know. The game would not exist if it was
Really?
like a real.
That's
If they were hard coded in some way, like it would be so much work to go in and tweak.
Right,
Because
exactly.
while we were developing them, they were getting iterated on all the time.
To go and manually place spawn points and choose what gets spawned where every time.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exhausting.
the idea behind placing all the spawn points was to let us iterate and make whatever we wanted up later.
Right.
Which I think worked successfully. A couple of other behind-the-scenes tools that will not be in the actual game are we have a lot of like commands for. First of all, I can pop this with a button on my keyboard instead of having to actually hit the gem, right?
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like the laziest debug command.
I love it.
It's
We
awesome.
accidentally left this in the first build of the demo, by the way, and people found
That's
it
true.
pretty fast.
That's true. That's true. We left it in the first build of the demo so that players could actually do that instead of having to actually pop the gem in the original demo. And we told them that, and it cut down the speedrun time by like 15 seconds or something.
Very funny.
It was very stupid. But yeah, so there are all these enemies here, and I can just kill them all with a button. And this also helps getting to later
Ow, harsh.
levels pretty easy.
This will make for the ultimate speed run.
Oh yeah, exactly. There's no way anyone will be faster than me.
Ooh, challenge,
'Cause I can just
guys.
hit the K
Challenge
button
accepted.
and
Watch someone do
all
it.
of these.
without that feature, someone's gonna do it.
There was a
Somehow.
time where I was testing to make sure the credits would roll properly. So I had a debug command to just roll the credits. And at some point I was just in the tutorial and I pressed the button on accident and it rolled the credits. So that's the fastest possible speed run. Nobody will ever beat that.
Exactly.
30 second speed run of the whole game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's the tool here.
Nice. I think
can-
you showed like a little sneak peek at some accessibility features. I saw it there. That'd be really great to take a look at, actually.
Yeah. So let's talk about accessibility features. So, the first one, and I think Sam gets all the credit for this, is high contrast mode. Which maybe I can go. Here, I'll go back to the place we just were. So I have pulled up the actual builds of the game at this point. Let's go to accessibility in high contrast mode. So this is what it looks like in high contrast mode. I'm going to also turn off gravity. Okay. So this is what high contrast mode looks like. It's showing you what areas are dangerous, which is what this orange is, where your health points are, which is here, and this also start location.
Yeah. The idea with this, I guess, was, The Last of Us Part 2 had a really, really great version of this that it seemed like should, I think, be the standard. And it's just like, trying to show you as clearly as possible where geometry is, like where can you stand. If you squint your eyes, fully sighted person, it's very easy for me to see anyway, but if I squint my eyes, you can still tell. Make it, the idea is just to make it as easy as possible, even if you have, impaired vision or anything else, to try to still be able to play the game and still be able to tell what's going on. So everything's like as clear as possible. And it's just a different art style. It just looks,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's great.
It actually looks
That's pretty
amazing.
cool.
So the other stuff we have is extra visible required enemies, which is a pretty handy thing. Basically, what happens regularly is when you get down to the last couple of required enemies, they are highlighted through geometry, so that you can actually go out and find them. Making AI for 3D pathfinding enemies is a still unsolved challenge. So it was really tough that all of our enemy AI that is flying and is 3D has gone through a ton of iterations, just been
Yeah.
constantly remade to try and work better and better. But one of the enemies, it's called the worm. Basically, we could not update it to be more advanced because of how many there are, just processing wise. We couldn't have them all be smart enough to avoid obstacles. So they actually end up getting stuck kind of often. And so this was designed to help you find those last couple of enemies, because that was the whole reason we had required enemies in the first place, is so you didn't have to chase down every enemy on a level, right?
Right.
That was like one of the things that we wanted to improve on with like the Doom system, where you have to kill all the enemies, is that you don't actually have to kill all of them. You only have to kill the required ones, and so we made the last required ones even easier to chase down and find. That was one of our goals there. We have a lot of other accessibility options. What does this one do? Boomerang charge?
Oh, that's just like a motor thing. So like if you usually you have to hold the button to charge the boomerang, but this just makes it a toggle, so you just click on and off.
Oh, okay.
Oh
great.
wow, that's a really nice actually feature. I definitely know like a lot of that's like a thing that I've heard a lot. Like access, I love that you're one of the first games actually that we have featured on our Twitch channel that actually like really early on like had accessibility features. A lot of times people would talk to us and be like, yeah, in the future I think like in our next iteration of the game we'll like have more accessibility. It's something that a lot of people don't think of, and it's so important. You know,
It's super important. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really important to us when we were making the game. It was like a big priority. Like, hey, we need to get the accessibility options in, and we should start working on them now so that they're actually done by the time the game comes out. And there are a lot of people who have been messaging me on Discord like, hey, you know, are y'all going to have accessibility in your game? And I'm like, yeah, we want to. And then, you know, I was like, what type of accessibility features would you like to see? Like, what would really help you for our game? And so we got a lot of like actual first-person feedback on types of accessibility options that they made. So, I mean, huge shout out to those people for reaching out so that we could, bring those features to our game. And because, you know, I don't need accessibility options, but that doesn't mean that our game doesn't need accessibility options, you know?
Yeah, some of these I play on with myself. The like the Extra-Visible Required Enemies one is that's off by default, but it's like it's pretty helpful.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's what caught our eye when you were showing this to us previously in rehearsals and things like that, which was it just looked quite stunning because you thought about it earlier. So you're allowed, or you were given the opportunity and space, and you could change it, make it look good. So the game itself wasn't compromised just because you're visually impaired or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accessibility was not an afterthought, clearly.
Yeah, and so one of my best friends is colorblind, and so he was our little guinea pig for a lot of these features. And this was actually his idea to have these be just sliders, so that you can pick just any color that you want. So if you look in the top left as I'm drawing this, you can pick any color along this slider that you want it to be. So yeah, we worked like directly with him on figuring out this cool thing. And basically, part of the problem was at this point our localization had been locked in, so we couldn't really add a ton of words or explanation to this. And so we told him that, and we're like, hey, you know, what can we really do? And this was his idea, to have this sliding color for all this cool stuff. You can change, like, you know, what the required enemy colors are, and maybe like also what weak points are and stuff.
This is also just fun to play around with if you want to change things up. Yeah.
And this will be like a kind of a thing that, like, you know, when people are speedrunning the game, everyone will kind of have their own color scheme.
Oh, that's great.
Sure, yeah.
Which I'm hoping to see a lot more of.
It's like their personality when it comes to this game. That's so nice. Oh, when I jump into New Game Plus, I'm changing the color.
Yeah,
Perfect.
So all the required enemies now have this blue outline, and all of their weak points are the green that I set before. And so yeah, people who are colorblind, this is really gonna. This is what we did for them, is so that they can change all the important colors that they need to see to whatever color helps them most, because there are a lot of different color blindness. And my friend actually is like red, green, and like blue, yellow. So it's really bad for him, and this really helped him be able to actually pick colors that worked best for him instead of us being like, this is what we think you should do if you're red-green colorblind, or this is what you should do if you're whatever colorblind. We let people pick the best color for them, which I think is kind of the best way to do it.
I think it also just caters to my I just love customizing in games.
Yeah.
I spend hours on that, so.
Yeah.
And it's a nice balance of like the team kind of relinquishing control, but also maintaining a certain level. Like you've still kind of selected the shade of red and the shade of blue and the shade of green, but you're allowing people to kind of do what they want.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So like whatever color is going to work best for them was really the goal here. Because everyone's going to have different needs, and so we really try to get that. We got a question, Sam. How does the color actually get applied in game, though? Is it simply a variable for a shader, or was there more work to it? Because I know that you implemented this. Thank you, by the way. But I know that you
did so well.
Yeah, great work.
Yeah. So it's basically I'm gonna get a little technical, but what that slider is controlling is a global shader variable that all the shaders that need to pay attention to it can read. So the shield color one or whatever, like any shader that needs to pay attention to the shield color, which is actual UI, it'll affect the shields, that are on the ground and like the particle effects and whatever for that stuff. So what it's doing is it takes the default color. We still apply a default color to it. So the default color for these is red, and then it just does a little hue shift based on how far the slider is. So that just gets applied all the time through the shader.
Cool. Thanks for the question, Mega Miley. Next up, I kind of wanted to go into something that was a little bit offbeat, not so offbeat, but you hear a lot about and often is kind of unspoken, is the fact that small dev teams, you're going to be doing many roles, and Bones has the pleasure of being the community manager as well as dev for this game, and I actually would love to talk about that. You have a very unique community and a very great way of engaging with it, and I'd love to go take a look into that.
All right, so basically one of the things that we really wanted to, we have this is a design problem, right? Like we had a problem. What we wanted is people to be engaging more, have reasons to engage in the server, or in the Discord that we have, and so we wanted to come up with reasons and things for people to do basically every day that didn't feel like your daily quest goal that you have a lot with maybe a lot of mobile games. I know like a lot of games like Dead by Daylight, you get a quest every day when you log in. There's a lot of like login quests, daily quest stuff, and we didn't want it to feel like that. But we still wanted to have something to do every day. And so an early thing that we did is we have what's called the acronyms channel. And so what this does is it pulls a string from an Excel spreadsheet that is on Google Docs. It pulls it from it and pastes, here, I can actually pull up a spreadsheet too, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
watch your eyes, everyone. It's going to be pretty bright.
It became so bright.
Yeah. So this is what it looks like. There's a date. So today is the 6th. And so it reads this one. And I was really missing like TTRPG, like Dungeons and Dragons stuff. So at the start of this month, or I guess in June. And so when I wrote all of these, I kind of wrote them as D&D prompts. So the one for today is, you break through the tree line at the edge of the forest and continue bolting through the open meadow to the nearest village. However, backlit by the soft moonlight, you see a sprawling form burping and chittering in excitement. A fourth, and then, because it actually gives you an acronym, I have these 3 pound signs, which is what gets swapped in for an acronym. Mm-hmm. So the acronym today was GTI. So we have people who came up with acronyms, not always on theme with the prompt, but that's kind of what the prompt is for. So we have Got to Invest, We have Good Times Inbound. We have Granola Tasting Initiative.
Wow.
Trapped and
That's a good one. I like
You
that
know,
one.
tasting edition. That's a winner right there.
Yeah. So and it pulls from this stuff, and we have different themes every month. We had SOB yesterday. You can use your
Easy
imagination
one.
for that one. Yeah. So that's one of the things. And so every morning, it pulls from that Google Doc to just give people something to do and like come up with an acronym for the day and figure out what that means. I've gotten some feedback on it from my friends, and they say that it has warped their brain so that when they see an acronym, they automatically start coming up with stuff for it, which is really funny.
Yeah, I love it.
Conditioning them.
Yeah, I've conditioned them. So this is really funny. This is really fun. I love this part of it. One of the things I wanted to bring up is I'm still missing one for the 30th.
Yeah, we should add one.
I'm gonna, so this is gonna be an open challenge to Twitch chat. If you want to come up with a prompt like this, the theme this month is D&D. So some 8 silhouettes creep out of the trees. A white glowing halo surrounds their moonlit shapes. I like moonlight a lot. That was a lot of my motifs. From this distance, they appear to be pound, pound, pound. What do you do? So that's kind of the idea behind this month. So if someone wants to come up with an acronym, I would be happy to put it in here if you'd like.
Yeah, throw an acronym
so we'll
in
do
chat.
a little mini challenge for come up with what the prompt could be.
Nice.
I'll pick it. If there's a good one, I'll put it in.
Yeah.
For the 30th.
Yeah.
So that's one half of our initiative.
And
So
Carol, what do you get if we get picked?
Yeah, so if Bones picks your acronym, you can win a Lego minifigure, an official Unity Lego minifigure that I'll send to you. So throw your acronyms in chat, friends.
Real things.
Yeah. Sorry. What else? What is this second part of your initiative?
And so the second part is really fun. We have what is like a weekly channel. So every week there's a new channel, and we have a ton of different channel ideas. This week, you can see what it does. It says react with the England flag emoji if you think this is a picture of England, or the moon if you think this is a moon. Correct answers will be scored when the next one is posted. Don't double react or you won't get any points. So for the stream, this is our picture. So everyone reacts with whether they think this is a picture of England or a picture of the moon.
Chat, can you guess?
Can you figure it out, chat?
us
It
know.
feels like a PBS. Oh, that's a really good one. We have a submission from CJ Tree. Oh, thanks, CJ. Enemies surround you on all sides. Things are looking desperate. Time to cast your all reliable spell, and then you name the spell.
Oh,
that's really good.
That's fun.
I love
really
that one. Yeah.
Nice.
Good work, CJ. Uh-oh. Here we go. All right, so that'll
All right,
go up
that's
on
picked.
the 30th.
Nice.
Of
You have
this
been
month.
chosen, CJ.
been
Somebody from
chosen.
Unity will send you over a little
Yeah.
link so you can get your Lego minifigure. Congrats.
Great. Yeah, so this is this week's channel. We have a bunch of other ones. You didn't see that? Okay. Oh, man.
This is why we do
Alright.
this live.
This is why we don't do this live. Okay. All right, well,
It's okay. Bernie will just remove all that.
yeah, let's flip that. Gonna have to play some tokens. That's fine.
Battleship's a good one.
Battleship is a great one. All right, so everyone knows, well, maybe not. Battleship is a game where it's like a 10 by 10 grid. And so you go like A through J, and you're like, I'm gonna guess A3 or J10, and that's how big Battleship is. And so there are 17 ships that you can hit. And
17,
So there's
17
17
squares, right? And the ships are like 5 ships.
Yeah, in
or
total
something.
ships.
Is that right?
And so every shot you had like a 17% chance to hit it. So what we did is we just made a battleship game that's really big. And And so yeah, just huge board. And so instead of going be 10 by 10 to be 100, it goes AA to ZZ, which is 676, like on one axis. And then on the other axis, we have the same amount. So what that means is that instead of there being 100 tiles to hit, there's about 500,000. And we didn't increase the number of ships at all. So he's a little 17 tiles to hit on 500,000 tiles. And that's kind of that was like kind of the big punchline of the huge big punchline of the bot was like that was one of the last channels. And I think it's coming up again. So the game will come out on Thursday, and on Friday it'll be Advanced Battleship again. So those of you who want to get a taste of what Advanced Battleship is like, you should join the Discord. It'll be live on Friday.
Yeah. I just love this. I think you showed it. I think you actually showed, like, did you actually show us, I think at some point, like the full...
Oh, yeah.
And because some people actually guessed it.
We did have someone actually get it correct.
Oh yeah, here's the whole map. This is the first time we did it.
Yeah, this is from the first time. It's happened one more time since then.
It's so massive.
It's
so huge.
Forever to look.
It's huge.
I love that. It's just...
Yeah, right. It's a flashback for everyone who remembers having like AOL.
Yeah, so we just took all the guesses that people made and rendered them out to this giant map. There we go. Oh my god, it's enormous.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Ooh, here we go.
Look at...
And somebody actually found one battle.
Somebody found one. Somebody hit the smallest one.
That's great.
This is where Eugene hit. But you can see, like, there's just swaths of just open ocean that no one's touched at all.
Yeah.
Like, just here. There's not a guess on the entire screen here, right? Like, oh my god. So much space.
Endless entertainment for the...
Yeah, right. We have a lot. And so
Discord
one of the cool
community.
things about this is we have like people making ASCII art. So our friend David did their initials here, and someone did with the
I love
exclamation
that.
point. So yeah, that's one of the other fun things that you can make, like basically pixel art. I mean, to an extent, and we have a lot of like these lines that people made, trying to guess in like long patterns and all this fun stuff. Yeah, so this is CJ, who just came up with an acronym. CJ's closest guess to the submarine was here. Still pretty far away. Yeah, and I mean that's just what that's what Battleship is. It's a lot of fun. A lot of goofy like type of games like that. I mean, this was by far the most ambitious one of the week-long projects, week-long channels. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to come up with all this stuff, and I mean also a lot of work, which is the other side of it. Is that we make a game full time, and some of my time that could be spent making the game instead goes to this, which is just part of having a small team, goes to doing this and having like a small Discord, a small kind of interactive Discord like this because we have a small team. So I make all of this stuff here. Which takes a long time. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I think you didn't mention, but like you program all the Discord Python bots, everything from scratch. You create all the seasons of content. I realize.
Yeah. So this is what season 1 is basically, and the further development of this and like improving on the channels and making them work better had to all get put on hold basically because the game was going in such full force in like January, February, and then March, and then April, and then after that I was like, I don't want to do any work. I'm taking a break. No one else on the team has to work, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a lot of it. But yeah, it was a lot of. So it just takes a lot of work. And one of the things that I want to do in the coming month, hopefully, but probably months plural, is come up with like a second season of this and figure out what it can look like as we take this in a new direction. So For those of you who are interested, I guess you just gotta join the Discord to see how it goes.
And
Yeah.
hopefully,
Or it's season 2.
Exactly. I mean, who knows? But I think a lot of people might join once the game launches too. So it might be. There's gonna be a lot of pressure.
I think it's really
Yes.
great. Yeah, that's why it's a really unique take on community management. There's like definitely, Discord is such a weirdly vibrant place, and you can do literally anything you want. It's kind of like a Wild West, kind of like Twitch, It doesn't need to have this really corporate or very defined way that you should engage with the community, especially for a game like this. It's an indie game, there's like limited content as well. There's only so much you can like keep people like always coming back inside of a game. You gotta build a community, and to me this is building a community. You create in jokes, you make people want to come back, you make them want to talk to each other, you make them want to support you in the future and know you as people as well. I talk about this a lot, that we're not like brands anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is a huge part of this whole project is that like we want to have all right. Mute channel for 15 minutes. Okay. So that's another thing, is that the introduce yourself channel, because I'm like kind of the only person who runs this, is I have my notifications for it on. So whenever someone joins the Discord, I get a notification on my phone. Because that's also kind of when you need to be the most wary of new people, is, a lot of people will join and start, being obnoxious or bad and need to get banned. So because I am running it by myself, have had to basically just have that on, and every time I get that notification, I need to go online, welcome them in, first of all, so like, hey, welcome in, but also like make sure that they're not like gonna make a problem or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which, we've had to ban some like bots and stuff and people who have joined and just, been mean, basically. But I recently have, and I'm so grateful for these two, but I had some friends who modded a community with me in a different server who are both in EU, which is great because that means that when I sleep, they'll still be awake.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm so grateful for both of them for stepping up and at least for now helping out and just making sure that we have a little more moderation. So it's not just all me. Because the game is going to come out in 2 days, and I expect a lot of more people to start coming in, and it's to get a lot more busy around here. And so we're going to need a lot more moderation.
Yeah. So chat, you heard it from Bones. They need some volunteer mods. Please send all your applications to Bones in the form of memes and really clean scripts.
We have a volunteer. We have a mod intake form posted in Dang News. It's the second to last one before this one.
Awesome. There you go.
So if you are actually interested in being a mod, come fill out the application. And no promises, I'll get back to you. But if I do, we'll talk.
Yeah. This is a huge part of Unity's community too, where we have a massive communities across many, many platforms, and we rely so heavily on our volunteer mods. These people sometimes work way harder than us. I actually don't know. Even some people in our chat right now who are actually Unity employees who some people just naturally really want you to succeed. And I think you've created that community in your space. So I really want to show it off because it's really nice how you've built it out.
Yeah. It's, being a small team makes it extra hard that like this can't be like the only thing I do, because if this was the only thing I do, we would have like more seasons and stuff and more stuff going on in the Discord. But as it is, the like 12 different weekly channels we've had has had to loop back on itself several times instead of like, a lot of these channels are only good for the joke the first time, but people have seen it 3 times, or it lasts a whole week each time. Like one of our channels is called John Lennon, and whenever someone posts a message, it says how many days it's been since John Lennon died. Just responds with that every time a message is sent. That's kind of the stupid channel idea. We have one that's called Prank Call, where every time someone sends a message, it'll at them and say, hey, is your refrigerator running? And then whenever they respond, it'll say, well, you better go catch it. And it just does that all week long. We have actually one of my favorite interactions is also from CJ.
I love this so much. I actually think this is like gonna be one of those things like when in the future, like aliens are gonna like we're gonna this your Discord is gonna be in the MoMA Museum of the
Oh
Future.
yeah, we're gonna be in the time capsule to yeah. So this is one of my favorite things that people ever did with this joke. Yeah, this is CJ again. Yeah, talking to you, CJ. Hey, weird question, but was wondering if anyone had any advice. I recently got a pet raccoon, and I've been feeding it regularly, but it found out how to break into my fridge and steal its own food. It's gotten to the point where whenever I go out to open the fridge, it's entirely empty, and now the raccoon has decided to just live in there. But shouldn't the cold cause the raccoon to leave? I'm at a loss for what to do. I'm not sure why it's so cold. It's not cold enough in there. And then the bot, because he said something, added him and said, "Hey, is your refrigerator running?" Then CJ says, "Oh my god, thank you. I forgot that I unplugged it a week ago. After I plugged it back in, the rascal started running around the apartment. It's just destroying anything now. What should I do?" And then Iobot said, "Well, then you better go catch it." Which I really, really love.
Genius.
It was so cute. It was so good.
It's so good. Wow, you have really smart community members.
Yeah. Big shout out to CJ for coming up with this.
Thanks.
I love that.
Yeah, this one's really good.
I almost want to post that in our Discord. That's so great.
Yeah, that's
It's
amazing.
pretty good.
It's really funny.
Somebody needs to clip this moment from the stream
Yeah.
and share that. Oh my god. Okay, so we teased this earlier. We said we were gonna jump into maybe seeing an exclusive level from later in the game. We looked at it. We were looking at the shaders, the lava level. Is that something we can jump to and look
Sounds
at?
great.
All right,
Yeah.
that'd be a great way to wrap things up.
Do you mind if I run to the bathroom very fast?
Go for it.
You all can keep going.
You have to
Yeah.
run.
I'll
Yeah.
run.
You have to run though as fast
Right.
as you can. We're gonna judge you.
Yeah. Somebody speed run.
Who's wearing pants?
All right. I'm just gonna reset all this to default. Get my gameplay set to default. Turn gravity back on.
Right,
Hopefully
so
this
speed
doesn't
run timer.
lag out. Like
Single arena speedrun timer. Oh yeah, another thing we have is we have a lot of support for speedrunning.
Nice.
So all of our accessibility. If I turn incivility on here, right, you'll get a little asterisk on your speedrun time, which will like not count. There isn't a scoreboard somewhere, but it'll tell you like when you turn gravity mode on or scattershot only mode on or all this stuff. We'll give you a little asterisk while you're running through, and it'll tell you like, hey, this won't count as a speedrun time, but we still have a timer. So we have continuous, which is going to be your total time, include your timing going between the levels and stuff, and then single arena, which is just going to be your like time trial time. And so I guess I can just give this a shot.
This is actually perfect for Summer Games Done Quick is happening this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really hoping maybe I can wish this into existence, that it'll get
Good,
run
let's wish things.
at the January Winter Games Done Quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is all very personal, but one of my motivations was when I played Hyper Light Drifter. I was playing it for the first time, and I was like really enamored and in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then GDQ was happening at the same time, and the devs called on the phone, like on a Skype call, while they were playing the game. And when I saw that happen, I was like, "That's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want. That's like my industry goal." And I'll be like,
That's
"Oh, I made
amazing.
it once this happened."
Oh,
And so if it gets run at GDQ, there's like a pretty good chance that could happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll achieve
so-
that. Oh, that's exciting.
I love that.
I hope that gets to happen. That's my hope.
Yeah, I didn't realize you mentioned speedrunning a few times. I thought it was kind of like it's kind of a joke that people say, but I actually didn't know that you had implemented so many of those features into it. That's really awesome.
Oh yeah, it's real. So this is the New Game Plus version of this level. And so what happens in the New Game Plus level is we put a giraffe in here that walks around on the lava. But to do that, we had to get rid of all the bridges in here. So that's why there are no bridges. Normally you would see these like pretty wooden rope bridges. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's give this a shot. Let me know how my frame rate is, but yeah.
It looks great. Okay, it's like 50.
Some people in chat suggested lowering the frame rate from 200 to like 60 or something, and that might help.
Is it bad I should change something?
Is it maybe possible to like lower the frame rate or something? I don't know if that's gonna. Yeah, cap the frame rate at 60.
I can make it auto lower resolution maybe, but I don't think we do cap frame rate. Unless I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's kind of a Twitch issue.
Okay. Sure.
Oh, so yeah, maybe removing VSync will help.
Oh, anti-aliasing? Sure. Let's give this a shot. I can also make it windowed, but I don't think that'll help. It has not really helped.
I feel like it's a bit better. No, okay, just hopeful thinking. Yeah. It still gives you a great idea of the game, honestly, like running through this and see how everything we were talking about before, where, you know, in this level, there's not a lot of ground to move on. So Bones is spending a lot of the time like floating around, flinging himself in the air, fighting the enemies from the sky, using a mix of different abilities, using his like needles and his nails, in addition to the boomerangs. And you just see how intense these levels get towards the end, right? There's just so much happening at once.
Alright, so I'm gonna use the... We've never showed this power before.
Oh my.
This is the Comet mode.
Oh my.
I think what we'll ask is for Bones, maybe if you can like send video footage of this, we'll splice it over
Sure,
so that when
yeah.
when we share this on YouTube, you can see it in all of its full FPS
Oh,
glory.
wow.
Glory.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, were we losing frames?
Yeah.
There's a lot happening, and Twitch is angry at us for it.
Oh, sorry.
Sam, your record is 5 minutes.
Oh my god!
Thank you.
Great. Okay, yeah. So I guess we can
And there's a giraffe.
together. Oh, giraffe. People in chat are asking, can you pet the giraffe?
No.
Can you pet it? You can stand on it. You can pet it with your feet, sort of, I guess.
You can pet its head with the boomerang. Which you
That's
kinda have
true.
to.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome! Thank you for that sneak peek at the lava stage. I really appreciate it. It does look crazy and pretty awesome though. And Swenpai said it like can't get over how fun this looks. It really does look really fun.
Yeah, this is New Game Plus, so it's like extra hectic.
Extra hectic, yeah. Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for showing so much. We went into so many facets. It actually was like a jam-packed stream, like community and the accessibility and the art
Later.
and all the challenges and your team. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing so much with us and being very candid about it too. We really enjoyed having you on. I hope you enjoyed being on the stream and sharing with everyone. Do you want to give like a final shout out to Boomerang X that's coming out in a couple days?
Oh, sure. Well, thank you so much for having us on. First of all, this is great.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, Boomerang X coming out July 8th.
July 8th. Thursday.
Mark your calendars.
Thursdays.
Yeah.
This Thursday.
But yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/videodang.
Yeah.
You can join our Discord if
Those
you go to
links
the
in the
Steam
chat.
page. So after
Also,
you go to the Steam page and wishlist the game,
Must
Right.
wish list.
Must.
Do it.
yeah, go wishlist the game. It's weird how important wishlisting is for Steam metrics, but whatever. Yeah, so there's a Discord link on the Steam page that you can go to join the Discord. I'll welcome all of you in as you come in. Yeah.
I guess that's about it. Oh,
And
no?
tell
Okay.
your friends. Tell your friends about it. Spread the word of
Yeah.
Boomerang X.
I have one last question for Bones. Are your bed sheets purposefully little Boomerang X's?
No. No. No.
Are you sure? You could have just said yes. So
This
it would
is,
have been great.
they
be
look more like
subconscious.
they look more like shurikens.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But
That's fair.
yeah, this is my grandmother's quilt.
Love it.
I'm pretty sure she made it for me. Well, not for me, but for my mom, and I stole it from my mom when I left home. So,
Thank you for that final riveting question
Yeah.
and answer. That really
behind the
ends.
scenes.
Yeah, real behind the scenes. But yeah, thank you. And that completes it for our second day of Devolver Week. Please tune in every day. We're gonna have streams. One more game tomorrow. It's gonna be. We're gonna check out Depth's Door, so a completely different game. Really awesome too. Also from Devolver. And then for the rest of the summer, we're gonna have tons of creator spotlights. I'm gonna hint that's going to be another great publisher. If you guys can guess it in chat, extra brownie points for you. But yeah, tons of great content coming up. Thank you so much for joining, and tune in next time. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Dang Team.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.